Yeah, what's up, everybody? Let me know if you can hear me, please. Not sure if my mic is connected properly. Can you guys hear me in the chat? Perfect. All right, let's give it a minute for the folks to run it to roll in, and then we'll get started. Great to see all you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate the support. All right, we'll do 1 minute and then we'll get started. Sorry to keep you all waiting. Good afternoon, Simon. I appreciate that, Chew fam. Spending my Sunday trading some meme coins actually. I just traded this. Time to full port. Got a little bit of over a 22x in 20 minutes. Welcome to the world of Solana for everybody hating on the meme coins. All right, let's jump into it. So back in October, I posted this tweet for GME. I posted how GME was sitting in a 4-trigger cluster setup. And you can see here how the daily trigger, the monthly trigger, the weekly trigger, and the hourly trigger are all within $1 from each other, all within 60 cents from each other, actually. And when the triggers cluster together like this, it means that the algos are basically getting ready for a very powerful move in one direction. Of course, until price breaks up or down, you don't really know the direction, but it's in a sense showing that things are aligning for a monster breakout. So, we showed the setup, and a recent example of a 4-trigger cluster that we had seen recently was in CCL, Carnival Corporation. So you can see right here the monthly, daily, weekly, and hourly triggers all within $1 together. Price breaks through and then proceeds to explode 28% to the upside. Now you'll notice there's a sharp move higher, and then price pulls back to the daily trigger, which is extremely normal, and then then we really explode higher. So I was showing this example as something that maybe we can expect in the same way for GME. Now I also showed breaking above 4 triggers at once is the most powerful trigger setup there is, as shown by CCL below. High confidence this is the start of the move, and shit's going to get silly soon. And this was way back when GME was only at 22.28 in the end of October when it completed that break, that 4-trigger cluster break. You could see price breaking through all 4 triggers in a very short period of time. That's your bullish 4-trigger cluster. Then you can see this gigantic candle telling you that it worked, that the move has officially begun. When we look at CCL, again, I posted the example of CCL breaking through those 4 triggers, moved up 35% to the upside at this point. And throughout this entire time, I've been trying to show that this breakout above all 4 triggers is very bullish, as shown by CCL. Look what it did after, ripped to the upside. But remember this pullback to the daily trigger. In the grand scheme of things, from September, let's call it September 11th, September 12th, month and a half, price moved up 35%. You don't even remember this pullback to the daily trigger. So let's fast forward to current time. This was the 4-trigger cluster we were showing on CCL, and my tweets were explaining to expect the same thing on GameStop due to the similar structure in the triggers before the big breakout, 4-trigger cluster setup, 4-trigger cluster setup. And this whole time, my forecast was watch out for a similar type of move as CCL. And CCL moved up 58%, since its 4-trigger cluster, and GME moved up 50% in a much shorter time period. GME moved up 50% in only a month. CCL, from took about 80 days. GME did it in 30. So again, the point of this is that 4-trigger cluster setups are extremely bullish. Huge moves happen, and because GME, in its volatile environment, in the fact that it's a highly shorted stock, is able to make these moves quicker, faster, and stronger than a regular small cap like CCL. Both had the same trigger cluster setup. Both had all 4 triggers clustering together before the big breakout. Both made big upside moves, but GME did it in 40% of the time as CCL due to its inherent nature. Now again, you'll notice that before CCL really went bonkers, it had that pullback to the daily trigger. And I've shown in the past how with all our Meltup setups, there's always been a pullback to the daily trigger. And anybody that's watched any of my past, 3 streams or 10 videos, 15 videos even, that ever since this move started, I said, in every past Meltup, we've had a pullback to the daily trigger. So don't be too surprised if that shows its face again. Now, if you want to see what I'm talking about, if you're new, if you haven't seen past streams, I'll show you really quickly. There's 2 well-known Meltups that we're all familiar with. Here's the GME in 2021, and you can see this bullish trigger cross, and not only did it have one pullback to the daily trigger, which got bought, but even had a second pullback to the daily trigger before the explosive move higher began. Our second famous setup, AMC, back in June 2021, you'll see here that it had the same exact concept. It had that pullback to the daily trigger. First, it had a nice pop higher, beautiful move, beautiful push, a little bit of a pullback to the daily trigger, and then things got started. And so that's why for weeks now, ever since the beginning of this move, give me 1 second. Ever since the beginning of this uptrend, I had been warning, be on the lookout for a final dip to the daily trigger. And I think the exact terminology I used was, this is kind of a spot where you want to mortgage your house, sell your car, sell every possession, and buy as much GameStop as you can if price were to pull back here. Now, we also know that GameStop tends to follow pretty closely behind Ethereum Classic. So you could even see the similar structure of the move, price breaking above the monthly trigger to get this upside kicked off, and price breaking above the monthly trigger to get this upside kicked off. GME has moved a little bit more to the upside since it's low than Ethereum Classic has moved more to the upside since it's low than GameStop. But if I remove the triggers here, you'll see that this is a very similar move from the low until this recent high. Both of these are quite similar. So you can see it starts over the strong push and then a little bit of a pullback, strong push and then a little bit of a pullback. Then you have another strong push followed by some choppiness, and then you have another strong push followed by some choppiness. Then this continues to grind higher, a little bit of grinding with chop and then explode higher. Then we're seeing GME grinding with chop, and then again we can see it explode higher. So regardless which way you look at it, from this from either perspective, whether you're calling for a dip down to the daily trigger first, or whether you think it'll just continue following Ethereum Classic higher, both roads lead to the Meltup. Now I'm going to get to the dates for where I think the Meltup is going to be, but all roads point to the Meltup, meaning at this point in time, we are absolutely positive with that, beyond a significant degree, with the utmost confidence, with zero doubts anymore, that GME is going to experience a significant upside Meltup. We're looking for about 5 to 7x in the span of 2 to 3 weeks. So think of something along the lines between 130, maybe 180, if things get really exciting, but a vicious upward Meltup in price over the course of 2 to 3 weeks. Very similar to June 2021 for AMC, and very similar to January 2020 for 2021 for GameStop. Now, I'm of the belief that GameStop tracks closely behind Ethereum Classic, So if you ask me right now, what are you putting your money on? A dip down to the daily trigger? Or if this downside push was just one of these downside pushes, price is going to bounce. Either it's, this low or this low, here or here, I guess. So for example, let's say this is the first move down. So maybe we'll have an upside move followed by downside move and then continue going. Or we're already in the second downswing that ETC had here, and we're about to, make this part of the move just explode higher this week. I can see both. But if you ask me right now, do I think price is going to pull back all the way to the daily trigger? It's hard to believe it, And again, every other Meltup has started that way. So, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. In fact, maybe you even have to call for a pullback to the daily trigger because of the similarities with every other Meltup. And it's not just GameStop and AMC of 2020. If I show you guys the Wolf Meltup that happened pretty recently, you'll see that it had the bullish crossover, and here's a long range of pinning while the weekly trigger is climbing, just like GME, long range of pinning while the weekly trigger is climbing, and then you get that crossover, price starts to explode, pulls back to the daily trigger, and then tops it off, and this was almost 100% move to the upside. The weekly trigger crossed the monthly trigger at 4, price topped at 931. So you could see that the greatest part of the upside usually comes after a pullback to the daily trigger, which is very, very, very normal. And then we also showed, the Tesla Meltup that recently happened. Very similar price action as well. Price is sideways while the weekly trigger climbs. Finally, you get that weekly trigger crossover, but price first pulls back to the daily trigger and only then explodes higher. So when it comes to GME, it's hard to say that a pullback to the daily trigger is off the table, but whether it does or it doesn't happen, this is obviously a very, very strong dip buy. And if there is a pullback to the daily trigger, I do believe the Meltup will start from there. And finally, wanted to speak about the halving cycles. So if you guys are familiar with the crypto halving cycles, you'll see something pretty cool here. So now, the last halving cycle, before this past one on April 19th, came on May 12th in 2020, right here. It's supposed to be May 12th. And if you look at, and by the way, if you want to add Bitcoin to this equation, which again, I've showed in the past, but the GME Meltup came only after Bitcoin broke all-time highs. So Bitcoin broke all-time highs right here, and it had a significant pump. And then right after this first major pump, okay, so here's the all-time high breakout. Here's the all-time high breakout, and GME's still not doing much. Let's zoom in. Where was that? Let's move this down here. Okay, so Bitcoin all-time high breakout happens right here. And then Bitcoin explodes higher. So let's call this move 70K to 100K. And then right after that, that's when GME makes its Meltup. Only after Bitcoin makes its move, comes here and pulls back. And watch the significance of this, because it will blow your mind. Because it shows that we're a day or two away from the start of the Meltup. Meaning this week, this very week. So again, watch carefully. Bitcoin halving cycle happens here, May 12th. After the halving cycle, after the amount of days, same exact thing that happened this cycle, Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. Bitcoin makes a huge push, pulls back, makes another top, and then pulls back for a bit. And during that time, GME is a little bit range bound, and then after BTC tops out on its breaking of all-time highs, so let's just say 70 to 100K like in our current cycle, and then pulled back to 91K, and now it's back at 97.3K. Right after that is when GME broke all-time high. And now look at the dates. Ready? Halving to the GME Meltup was 247 days. Okay, so remember this image, right? Halving, price breaks all-time high right here, makes a crazy move, and once it starts consolidating, GME melts up. Now look how similar this is, all right? Look how similar this is. So first, we said 247 days. So that would be December 20th, just about. All right, let's just call it Friday, December 20th. So not too much time. We only have You know, at the latest, we're looking at 21 days. At the latest, we're looking at another 15 trading days. But check this out. Here's the break of all-time high, and Bitcoin made a powerful push, and then now it's doing that little pullback thing. And during this little pullback thing is in 2021 where GameStop broke to all-time high. Let's look at it one more time. All right. So Bitcoin breaks to all-time highs. GME not doing much. Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. And then it does this little pullback thing. Same exact pattern, by the way. Top, down, back up. And that is when GameStop explodes. Right after the second top. And just look how similar this is, all right? It's nearly the same amount of days past halving. BTC breaks all-time high, shoots up, a little quick dip, back up, and right after that is when GameStop exploded to all-time highs. So you tell me, how close are we to the Meltup? My answer to you, we are either going to start it this week or we are going to start just like last time, 245 days or so after. My final prediction for the Meltup is that it's going to start within 3 weeks from today. So very, very exciting times. I'm livid personally. Like, this is truly such an amazing time to be in right now. It's incredible how everything's coming together. The Meltup's obviously here. It's really going to start any day now. Again, I gave all the possibilities. We either have one last dip to the daily trigger, or this is just that shakeout that we saw with ETC, a little bit of choppiness before exploding higher. Now, keep a close eye on Ethereum Classic, because although it has been pushing up, what we really want to see to confirm that the Meltup is here is a real explosion higher. By the way, RJ, I do appreciate that. I don't manage my YouTube, somebody else does, and he always texts me during the stream, like, tell everybody to like it. And I hate doing that because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just trying to give over information. But in his sake, if you guys do enjoy the stream, don't like it if you don't like the stream. Please don't. But if you do like the stream, please give it a like. I do appreciate that. So yeah, again, it's really so simple from here, folks. December 20th, Friday, or December 23rd, Monday, is the last time I would expect the Meltup to occur. But based on exactly what happened last cycle with Bitcoin, I can see it kicking off as early as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. I could see it kicking off as early as this week, and the latest Friday or Monday, December 19th to 23rd. That's the final Meltup prediction. And let me show you guys one more thing, all right? Let me show you guys one more thing. From the beginning, for, what's it been? It's been almost 200 days, guys. 184 days straight of making videos. Over 30 videos in the Meltup series. And every single one of them said there will not be a Meltup until the weekly trigger crosses the monthly trigger. And throughout this entire time period, we had tons of people calling for upward price action on GME and all kinds of theses. And I stuck to my guns from the very, very beginning. And I said the Meltup will occur once the weekly trigger crosses the monthly trigger. I was very, very, very specific about it. You can go through all my videos. You can go through all my tweets. But, this was the first post I put out. May 27th. May 27th, all the way back here. And I said, what triggers a Meltup? Price got to break above the monthly trigger. Daily trigger got to cross above the monthly trigger. And the third final step to the Meltup is the weekly trigger crossing above the monthly trigger. And that's right here. And that's right here for AMC. And I showed how for GME, we got the daily trigger crossing above the monthly trigger, but we're going to need to wait until the weekly trigger crosses the monthly trigger. And, you guys probably saw me mention it 1,000 times that we do not think we'll have a Meltup until that weekly trigger crosses the monthly trigger. Now, 2 weeks ago, we got that crossover in mid-November. And since that crossover, price has already moved really nicely to the upside. Let's call it here, 23% push, and after the pullback, 11%. But this is Meltup building. This is building the base for the Meltup. So things look extremely conducive here. The Meltup is coming. It'll start before January, in my opinion. I'm hoping for it to end before January for obvious reasons, but that's okay. And that's all I got for you guys today. I got to get back to my meme coin trading. I'm up like 7x on this and 25x on this one. So yeah, I mean, again, a lot of haters about the meme coins, but if that's where the money is, man, you got to go where the money is. It's that simple. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them. Thank you guys for the likes, by the way. I do appreciate that. Would you buy Solana GME for Meltup gains when this starts? So would I buy it instead of GameStop shares? Absolutely not. But you guys saw I bought 100K worth of GameStop shares on when was it? When did I buy them? Last week I think last week I bought 100K worth of GameStop shares. So, I want to be able to sell something during the Meltup, right? And I don't really want it to be my shares. So for me, it's like, if you're not experienced with options, here's the position, by the way, for those that think, I just bought it and closed it. Here's those shares that I bought last week. But yeah, like, it's very simple. If you're not experienced with options and you don't want to sell your shares during the Meltup, how are you going to make money during the Meltup? Like, why would you sit here for 4 years and then we get a Meltup and then you just don't make any profit? You're doing a disservice to yourself and to your family. Real talk, like real talk. You know a Meltup is coming. You're more prepared for it than you've ever been because you've been watching all the Meltup series videos, and then the Meltup comes and you don't want to sell your shares and you don't know how to play options, or you're not experienced with options, and maybe you don't buy the right ones, or maybe you get killed on theta or IV or etc. And then the Meltup comes and goes and you didn't make a profit. Like, how can you live with yourself? Come on. Wake up. You've been here 4 years. You got to be able to make money on this thing. So very simple. Like, if you're not willing to sell shares and you don't know options, how else are you going to make money besides for the GME coin on Solana? Like, you guys have to understand, I'm not saying anything crazy. This is a very sound thesis. Look what happened during this GameStop pump. All right, let's really break it down. Let's go to the daily time frame. Let's really break this down, okay? So, 2 spikes in GME from May 2nd. That was a 500% spike. Where's May 2nd? And 3,500 in the GME Soul coin. So, like, if you think that GME is going to go to 100 and the GME coin on Solana is not going to go to $1 billion market cap, which is like a 20x from here, if you think GME is going to go to 100 right now, which it is, by the way, it's going to start within the next 3 weeks, it is going to go there, and you think the GME coin on Solana won't do this, then you just don't understand market mechanics, I guess. You have to understand, right? Everybody on Solana is going to see in the news that GameStop is melting up, and they're going to want exposure, and they're not going to buy the stock. They're not going to buy the stock because they don't trade stocks. What they're going to do is they're going to buy GME on Solana, and it's going to have its own sort of melt up. So this is my target in the billions. I want to see at least $1 billion to $10 billion market cap. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, buy options. You see, the thing with the options is that they expire. This coin never expires. And look at the base that it's built. I'm saying we're talking about right now. We're talking about a 3-month base, 120 days, 4-month base of just steady uptrend. I mean, you're gonna tell me what? This is a rug. This is a scam coin. Like, this is a $50 million market cap that has been slowly making an uptrend. So risk is 0.36. So yeah, you're risking like 40% if it loses the uptrend. If you buy, like, listen, if you're not willing to risk anything, then you're probably not going to make a lot of money in the market. Okay. Yeah, otherwise just buy options if you're experienced. Do I think it can 15x? I think it can technically do like 100x. I'm not going to lie. I may have asked last time, what crypto wallet do you use for meme coins? I use the Phantom wallet. It's right here, my extension. Why not sell your shares? Because I don't want to sell my shares. I want to use them to, sell covered calls during times of extremely high IV, where I think the stock is going to go down anyway. I don't want to sell my shares. I have no plans to do that probably ever. I'll use them as a vehicle to make money via selling CCs, and if they get called away, so be it. Okay, let me. Mumu says, I disagree with the no theta argument of Sol meme coins. If there's no activity or interest in the meme, all meme coins slowly fall off, kind of built in theta. I mean, I disagree, man, because this is since August, and there hasn't been much interest in GME. Let's go back to August. Wrong year, my bad. So, GME's been flat for these 4 months, and the meme coin did not go anywhere. It's a community of 50,000 strong, bull posting every single day. I mean, if you take a look at the Telegram, 20,000 members in the Telegram, and there's 2,000 messages every time I open it up. What's the real value of that coin? Is it backed by GME or something? No, it's just if people want to buy it, that's the value. Just like pretty much everything else in the world. Where can we buy it? What is everyone using to buy coins? It's Phantom Wallet, and then you go to Jupiter Exchange, but that's not what this stream's going to be about. Yeah, there's no way I would sit on all my GME shares and not take profits. I think people are waiting for 1,000 plus GME are beyond naive. Ain't happening. You'll be left holding a bag whilst it goes back to 30. While that's a strong opinion, I will say, what happens if you held shares for 4 years and price goes to 100 and you sell, and then 5 days later price is at 1,000? How are you going to feel about yourself? That's just something to consider. Do you think GameStop needs to come out with a fundamental news in the legacy business in order to keep rising after the Meltup, similar to Tesla? Not only do I think that they need to, but I think that they are going to. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a narrative for the Meltup, which we'll probably find out either this week, next week, or the third week, but not longer than that. Like I said, December 20 to 23rd is my latest date for this to start, but I do believe it'll start before that. So I think what's going to happen is that there's going to be a narrative, and then once the Meltup occurs, I think GameStop is going to completely transform the business and give it an excuse to climb for a couple of years after. Yeah, Buck, I hear you, but like I'm not even talking about Buck. I'm talking about GME and Sol because I can look at a chart and know what's healthy and what's not, and know if holders are holding or not. And when you see a trend line like this for the course of 4 months, it's very easy to come to the conclusion that holders are holding for higher prices. Otherwise, the chart wouldn't look like this. Simple human psychology. Jacob Faringer, what program are you using? If you'd like, you see Meme Stock Watch on the bottom right of your screen. So if you want to find out more about like our system, you go to that website, you go to the Platinum plan, and you use code MELTUP in all capital letters for a free month, and then you can learn about everything that we do here. I plan on taking profits into Sol, and then hopefully Sol outperforms BTC. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Leads. We have plenty of people can answer your questions. Sell some at 100, sell some at 1,000. There's a lot of ways to exit positions. I'll just watch the triggers and see when I need to sell. Is it possible to go below daily on earnings? To be real with you guys, I don't think we're going to see below the daily trigger until well after the Meltup. So this 2620 level, if price gets anywhere near it, even $1 or $2 away, that's when the algos are going to start buying really strongly. And so that's why it's so hard for me to see anything below that. Like you see this shaded region, this blue shaded region, that means that algos are eagerly waiting to buy the dip as soon as price touches the shaded region. So it might need to come down a drop more, but once it enters the shaded region, the daily strength, buyers will lift it back up. And the reason for that is because the monthly and the weekly are strong bullish. And when they're strong bullish, when the weekly is above the monthly trigger, the daily trigger is a very strong support. You could see the hourly trigger, price was above the hourly trigger for 30 days from, literally from 28th of October till the 29th of November, price was above the hourly trigger. So if the hourly trigger is so supportive, you can bet big time that the daily trigger will be supportive. No experience with calls. Should I full port April 30th strike? I'm not a financial advisor, so you're asking the wrong guy. I just give my own trades on the Discord. You think after the Meltup, price will come back down to these current levels? It's hard to say. I think after the Meltup, price might revisit the weekly trigger, but during the Meltup, the weekly trigger might climb to 35, 40, 45 or so. I do think it will have a big retracement after the Meltup, yes. Um, it has been a privilege of a lifetime to hodl alongside you brave souls. Yeah, I mean, this has been awesome. I've definitely loved every minute of it. Holy crap, this coin cube's going up. Sorry to get distracted on you guys, but just the reality right now. I may have become a very degenerative crypto gambler, but full, that's this ticker, 27x 1 hour ago. So again, a lot of people hating on meme coins, but show me a different place where you're going to get a 27x in 1 hour. Called it at 500K market cap, and now it's sitting at 15 million. So again, like hate on meme coins all you want, but just show me a different place where I could go get a 27x in an hour, and then I'll side with you. I think RC will dilute before we can run up. I do not think so. I don't think any more dilution is coming. I think it's LARPing. I don't think any more dilution is coming. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? If there will be a big retracement after the Meltup, you think selling some shares during Meltup would be smart? Buy it when it retraces? Possible. Very possible. You can as well get a 90% in an hour. Yes, Z can. You are very right about that. In fact, I've had that tons and tons of times. But it only takes one. You get what I mean? You could lose 30 in a row. But it only takes 127x to make that all back and more. What app do you use to trade meme coins? This is Photon, but there's plenty. I don't really want to talk about like how I do it because that's not like what the stream's about. If you want to find out more, I mean, there's tutorials in the Discord. There's YouTube videos. What's your prediction for AMC on this Meltup? I don't have one. Biscuit, you can look at the website in the bottom right corner of the screen to join the crypto Discord. It's going to be the private plan. I use Radium to trade meme coins. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a different preference. No difference. They all work. All right, what else is up? I am willing to sell in the Meltup, but the thing is when selling. So for me personally, I'm trying to be out of all my options at like 130. Like if it goes to 2000, no problem. Don't give a crap. I'm trying to make enough money from this Meltup where I can then sell puts or buy very long dated calls or buy shares and use it to wheel. Basically, this is like my last big YOLO is what I'm trying to say. And as long as we get to 130, my port will be big enough to make very safe returns for the foreseeable future, hopefully the rest of my life, and I won't have to do any like big option trades like this anymore. Although they're fun, but the plan is to make all of to make as much as we can right now, and then use those proceeds to start investing and trading in a much more safe manner, slowly and deliberately over time to make passive income. That's the route that we're taking the Discord after this. Could this Meltup lead to actual MOS? I'm not the right guy for that question. I don't know. What I do know is that it has never been more obvious that GameStop is about to run up to 100 plus, but I don't know what happens after that, you know? How far out are your options? That's a good question. That is a good question. I don't really want to discuss any specific things about my options, but I will post the position when I sell it. That's for sure. If you guys want to join us alongside the Meltup, feel free to take a free month of our Platinum plan at memestockwatch.com and use code MELTUP in all capital letters for the discount. Okay, looks like you guys ran out of questions quickly this week. So no way we top under 100. I mean, maybe. Maybe, I can't guarantee you, but I'm looking for like a 5 to 7x. So maybe like 150 to 180, but I'll be out at 130. Will you be live streaming during the Meltup, James? Very possible. I might not be able to hold myself back, but no plans right now to do so. Did you see the spikes in Gil? Yeah, um, a lot of Roaring Kitty coins spiked yesterday. I have some Gil. Gil is another coin that can do really well if Roaring Kitty comes back because it's like the Bowden play. When Joe Biden was like the most famous person in the world, coin did 1 billion. So I think Gil has potential to do really well. Um, if when Roaring Kitty comes back, ban bet, nah. Um, don't really have anything to gain from a ban bet unless you want to put up some cash, and then if I win, you give me the cash, and then if you win, I get banned, I guess. But otherwise, like what's the point in doing a ban bet if I have nothing to gain from it? If DFV doesn't come back, how is this going over 33? Well, let me ask you something. DFV didn't come back and GameStop's up 50% in 1 month. How did that happen? How did this happen without DFV? I don't think DFV is going to come back during the Meltup personally, but as a bet, just in case he does, that's why I bought Gil. How will earnings affect the prices coming week and a half? It's a good question. I'm not so sure. Closer to earnings, we'll have much more options data, and then we could get a better look at it. But as of now, I don't know how earnings is going to affect price. I hope that Ryan will announce on earnings that he bought Bitcoin at 60K, and that will immediately be the narrative to start the melt up. That would be fantastic. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. I hope he announces that he bought Bitcoin at 60K. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, the Platinum plan gets into the paid Discord server. Yes, it does. Yes, Big West. It's not the whole Discord. The private plan is the whole Discord, but it gets you a lot. Is the meltup related to short positions closing and as GME emerges from a bankrupt company? Yeah. The triggers crossing is a sign that shorts are ready to start covering their positions, and that's what's going to start this blow off top in a bit. We don't need significant news and we don't need DFV, but a nice narrative like GameStop bought Bitcoin would be splendid because it's a perfect narrative for this melt up. But we don't need anything. This is all going to happen regardless. It just market mechanics and liquidity cycles and liquidity rotating into risk assets, which is exactly what GME is. What do you believe in percentage that GME tops under 100? I don't think it's going to top under 100. I think it's going to go over 100. Yeah, exactly. Why did it reach this point? Is it just an algorithm that was programmed to happen regardless, or is there more factors to it? It's just an algorithm. All programmed. This whole price action is programmed. There's nothing real about it. Why do you think 57x? I'm just comparing it to the AMC meltup because that's what it most reminds me of. And AMC went 5 to 7x from 9 to 72. So I think GameStop will pull a very similar type of move. And again, maybe there's a dip down to the daily trigger. Maybe we just get going Monday. But within the next 3 weeks, I'm expecting the melt up to start. So let's do this. How about this? Here is my final melt up prediction. Maybe I'll post this on Twitter. This is going to look wild, but imagine. Whole thing over by January 13th. How about that? Let me give myself a bit more time. Whole thing over by here. So let's say 420% coming in the next month or two. It's a good screenshot to have. All right, this is what I think. Do you think he bought Bitcoin at 60, 70K? Just personally, what do you think? So I'll tell you, I have a friend on Wall Street. His dad was the first investor on Citadel, the very first investor in Citadel. And he told me, he texted me that word on the street is that Ryan bought Bitcoin and he's going to announce it on earnings. Now, it's a rumor. There's no validity to it yet. But I personally think Ryan is cunning enough to pull off a move like that. No, they profit off this as well. They don't lose control of the algorithm. They have to do this at some point, like every 4 years. They can suppress it for so long, but not forever. So it's all just part of it. Or GameStop purchase XRP. If that happens, I'm gonna laugh for like a good 5 straight days. I'm just gonna laugh uncontrollably if GameStop purchase XRP. Oh my goodness. Ryan buying BTC is surely BS. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll find out. Oh yeah. So a market retracement, Iman. Great question. I do think once GME does top, then that's gonna mark the top for the entire market in general, and that's when I want to exit everything. Ryan bought Chill Guy at 10K market cap. Mumu. So true story. I bought Chill Guy at 3 million, and I still own a third of it at 460 million right now. So been trading stocks for 4 years and made more money in Chill Guy in 1 week than I did trading stocks in the past 4 years. So kind of makes me question a lot of my life choices, but I'm really happy about it, man. Really just such a blessing to me and my family because I was extremely lucky. I was scrolling on TikTok 2 Sunday nights ago and I see the Chill Guy meme and I'm like, oh, this is relatable. So I go to Deck Screener and I just type in Chill Guy and it popped up and I bought $1,000 of it and now we're up. Man, how much are we up? $137x. So yeah, shit's crazy. I put a lot of those gains into the GME coin. That's how I was able to get a lot of it. Is all your income from full time trading, or do you have another source of income? So, Meme Stock Watch, pays the bills. When I was a fintech professional, I was definitely making more than I do on a monthly basis from Meme Stock Watch. But the trading is definitely adds to income. Like I just made, well, I didn't sell it all yet, but I sold 100K worth of profits on Mara to buy those GME shares. So that was like a big win. Trading is, I'm taking it much more slow this year. Like instead of doing a bunch of scalp trades all the time and like trying to make 20, 30, 40%, I'm just loading up huge, unconfident Meltup setups and attacking those. And that's been working a lot better for me. That's for sure. Again, what platform do you use for trading meme coins? Looking for something trustworthy? Phantom Wallet, and then you can trade on Jupe. Will you please look at XRP chart, please? I don't look at charts on the stream. Made you look. I'm sorry. Yeah, making big gains from the milked up and then letting the market crash and buying everything at a generational bottom will retire your entire bloodline. Um, the only thing I disagree with you is DFV not coming back, but thank you, Mumu. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back. But again, that's just a personal opinion, and not only can I be wrong, but I would be more than happy to be wrong. Hello, J Roll. Can you advise on how much bonering Jamie will have this week? So if you go back to the beginning of the stream, after this is done, I did speak about that. I do think the melt up can start as early as this week and as late as 2-3 weeks. All right. So my latest date for the start is December 20th, which is a Friday, or December 23rd, which is, yeah, the Discord has meme coin channels. One for the private plan and one for the platinum plan. Yeah. So I think it's going to start either this week. I was showing something, very similar with Bitcoin earlier, or next week or the week after that. But it's going to start in December. That I'm very positive about. All right, guys. That's all for me. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. And again, if you want to try out a membership by us, you can use code Meltup for the platinum plan. Otherwise, have a great week, guys. I'll definitely be on Twitter, so talk to you guys there. If it's not this week, it's the next LMAO. No, if it's not this week, then I say anytime until December 23 is going to be the start. So either this week, the week after, or the last week. But in December. No chance it doesn't start in December, in my opinion. And by the way, guys, listen, if you wanna really track it, just put ETC on your watch list. And when you see this really explode higher, like I'm talking about $40 or whatever, like in one big candle, that's how you know the Meltup is here. The Meltup is not here until Ethereum Classic makes a gigantic candle. It could happen tonight, it could happen tomorrow, but once that candle comes, the Meltup is here. And that's when you really want to get long. You know, that's the one time to take a crazy risky options bet, in my opinion. Of course, opinion only, not financial advice. All right, guys. Have a good one, everybody.